What I want to know is, one, how much the ministry has costed the training of every child for. Because we're getting very varied figures about how much it costs it costs to put a learner through ECD, primary education, secondary education, and university. And we were not happy with the minister telling us that he doesn't know and that no one has ever done that analysis. So on what basis are we budgeting for our learners if the minister doesn't know how much training a child at university costs? Basically, our issue is the confusion in communication of major policy reforms and how the system is supposed to work. Transition from KJSA, from year 9 to year 10, you've seen how it's been marred by confusion. Members have asked about the criteria for admitting children into C1 schools and how the C1 schools were even selected. So, now, I don't agree with it because the numbers are still not clear. I mean, no one is clear. Like in my constituency, we're looking at the numbers there. They're not at 86%. So we need to push. We need to keep pushing. We need to ask our chief, sub-chief, the village elders, let's every kid go to school. And I would like the parents of this country to take the president's word for it. Send their kids to school, whether they have shoes or uniform. Let them go to school and let teachers deal with that matter.
We still have a lot of gaps when it comes to students now moving from junior secondary school to the senior. We have a lot of gaps. There are a number of students who are at home. Majority of Kenyans cannot afford school fees, and the funds which have been released to schools is not commensurate to what we are expecting down there. What has been a major concern to all of us here is the criteria of placement of students. Yeah, because when you look at students going to schools, a number of students have not been placed where we think they'll benefit a lot. So we tried to ask the minister to ensure equity when it comes to distribution of teachers and resources. Because if we concentrate most resources in fully established schools, we still have students, the bulk, around 36%, in poorly managed schools. He has promised here to do laboratory in over 1,000 schools. So what we are looking for as Parliament, we want him to come out clearly and display the list of those who are going to benefit, because if you have skewed way of benefiting, it's hurting most students in the country. The minister has also reported that there is a support which the minister has gotten from the Kuwait government. And to our surprise, all the support is concentrated in Nyamira and Kisii counties. So what we were asking, if you are the minister and you are coming from Kisii region, must all the donor support go to where you are coming from? Those are the things which we are trying to ask ourselves. Because it's become that 6% is too far. We are the ones from the constituencies, and I can say if the score best is at 70, we still have a number of students outside who are still looking for space, who are still looking for fee, who are still looking for support to go to school.
I want to urge the Minister of Education, and especially the Minister, the PS, and everyone. Let us take our education serious. Because you see, they are just talking, but they are not implementing. Think like we are joking with education. Hii pesa ya capitation, hata kama imekuja, ni pesa kidogo sana. Na ukiona tukisema ati watoto waende shule na zile uniform kama vile president alisema, bado it is not implemented. So I would like to ask our chiefs, our administration, take that upon themselves. Wahakikishe hakuna mtoto amebaki nyumbani. No, hakuna because tuko huko mashinani. Hakuna, haiko. Na unajua, they are just saying that when seated in their offices. They should come on the ground, wajue what is happening. Wasikae kwa ofisi kusema ati implementation iko 96%. Hakuna, hata sincerely speaking, haijafika 45%. Many children are at home. Ya bursaries na nini. I think now the government, I think hii bursary yote ya women rep, ya MPs, ya governor, hiyo pesa yote iletwe pamoja, watoto ipelekwe Ministry of Education, tuwe na free education. Because majority of the children are suffering at home.
We've listened to the CS trying to explain the challenges that they are facing in the ministry. Of course, the answers are not satisfactory. The answers are just beating around the bush. No clear answers to the parents out there. Around the books distribution is at around 58%. Surely that is a very low percentage for a program that we've been aware is coming for the last 9 or so years. Because being grade 10, it means this system started implementation when these kids joined grade 1. So for 9 years, you are not ready to come and tell us that into the second month of term 1, you do not have sufficient books for all the children. Capitation is money that follows a child. So if you say money was sent and the child was not in school, by last week they were talking about 800,000 of these children not being in school. So where did you know this child was going for the capitation to be there before the child? There are so many questions. I think they are playing too much in front of the camera. So where did you get the 96% figure from? If you're already saying you do not know where these children went, you are waiting for the statistics. So how did you get the statistics which you're now giving us a 96%? This is populism. We're just being popular, trying to show that we are doing something, but we are just guessing.
Ladies and gentlemen, as at the 22nd of January, that is, remember we were closing placement or reporting on 21st. By the time we closed on that date, on the 21st, the following day on Thursday, we had 92% of all the learners reporting in schools. And because we have 100% transition policy in government, there were 8% that had not reported for one reason or another, including issues relating to school fees and uniforms. But yesterday at noon, we had done 96% of the placements, with the intention to move to 100% by the end of this week. The students that have reported to our schools across the country from the regions, you can see Central is at 97%, Coast is at 89%, Eastern is at 94%, Nairobi is at 95%, Northeastern is at 99%, Eastern is at 94%, Nyanza is at 96%, Rift Valley is at 97%, and Western is at 97%. We are at 95.6%, that's why I said by yesterday at noon, we are at 96%. We would be able to know the number. We normally take the data at noon every day. Distribution as of yesterday was at 57.5%, call it 58%. Now, what happened with this challenge of textbooks is that the publishers were owed about 11 billion shillings by government. Now, this 11 billion shillings was a pending bill arising out of previous distribution of previous books that had been procured. So what happened is the printers refused to print the grade 10 books because they had not been paid. So what we did, we were able to get 5.6 billion out of the 11 billion, which we paid them during the second week of January, and therefore the printing started and distribution started. So we plan to complete the distribution of these books at 100%, having one textbook per learner per each learning area by the first week of February. That's next week.
For primary, we need 9.7 billion. For junior school, we need 49 billion. And for senior school, we need 76 billion, making a total of 136 billion. What you allocated and what Treasury allocated for primary is 7 billion instead of 9. For junior is 28 billion instead of 49. And for senior school is 51 billion instead of 76. On the 2nd of January, remember schools were opening on the 5th of January, government was able to release 50% of what is allocated. That is 44 billion. And you note on that slide on term 1 capitation, which we normally do 50% term 1, term 2 we do 30%, and term 3 we do 20%. So if you go to the previous slide, where the allocation is 87 billion, you will see that we have released 44 billion, which is 50% of the 87.
The government capitation, the approved rate, is free primary education is at 1,420, junior secondary is at 15,042, and secondary is at 22,244. Those figures have not changed, despite the various statements that you see where people are saying that we reduced capitation.